Hey everyone. So, whether you are newly sober or you're looking to cut back, books are a really good way to help you along in that journey. Before we get started, just like always, I'm going to shout out my shirt. This is Skull Fist. They are out of Toronto, Canada. I got this shirt from a show when they came here to Halifax in like 2013 or so. I love them. No false metal. So when I first got sober, I built myself a support system with friends and family. I got free therapy. I looked for it and I found some, and I changed the vast majority of my behaviors through therapy and through doing recovery work and through reading books. Reading helped me so much in my early recovery because it was a healthy pastime and it didn't involve ingesting poison. So here are a list of 14 titles. Either they're ones that helped me personally or ones that have helped some friends or ones that I've read really high reviews on that I want to eventually read. The first book that I'm going to recommend is Drink: The Intimate Relationship Between Women and Alcohol by Ann Dowsett Johnston. This book is the very first book that I read when I was really just a few weeks sober. I got it from the library and it completely changed my outlook on sobriety and the advertising industry and how advertising affects women in particular too. And there's still some passages in this book that I quote to this day. The second book is Dharma Punks by Noah Levine. This book was recommended to me by a friend way back when I was still drinking and I was pretty heavily ingrained in the punk and metal scene. And so she felt like this book would be helpful for me because Noah Levine, the author of the book, it's a memoir. He basically came from that background as well. So it's a fantastic memoir. And there's still parts of this book. I've read it twice. And I'll probably read it a third time because it's been a couple years, but there's parts of this book that I still remember, like the part with the deer. So this book is one I recommend to people who I feel like, and who they feel like are too rebellious to go with a mainstream way of recovery. The third book I'm going to recommend, of course, is Sober Curious: The Blissful Sleep, Greater Focus, Limitless Presence, and Deep Connection Awaiting Us All on the Other Side of Alcohol by Ruby Warrington. So this is one of those books that come highly recommended as it was pretty much the book that started the Sober Curious movement. A friend of mine recently read this book and she said that it has really helped her change the way she perceives alcohol and change her relationship with alcohol, and she started to implement some alcohol-free ways of being into her everyday life, and it's helped a lot. Book number 4 is Mindful Drinking: How Cutting Down Can Change Your Life by Rosamund Dean. This is another fantastic book for those who are sober curious. Here's a quote. Ever woken up worrying that you said the wrong thing at work and the night before? Felt frustrated with yourself for polishing off the entire bottle of wine when you only intended to have one glass? The emotional pull of alcohol is strong, but Mindful Drinking: How Cutting Down Will Change Your Life is here to help us cultivate a new, healthy, and more mindful relationship with alcohol. Book number 5 is When Things Fall Apart: Heart Advice for Difficult Times by Pema Chodron. Not necessarily a sobriety book, but still a book that can help you tremendously on your journey. How can we live our lives when everything seems to fall apart? When we are continually overcome by fear, anxiety, and pain? The answer, Pema Chodron suggests, might be just the opposite of what you expect. Here, in her most beloved and acclaimed work, Pema shows that moving toward painful situations and becoming intimate with them can open up our hearts in ways we never before imagined. The 6th book is by Russell Brand. Love that guy. Recovery: Freedom from Our Addictions. So in case you don't know, Russell Brand is much more than just a comedian and actor. He's been clean and sober for 17 years, has a pretty intellectual podcast. He's been on other podcasts talking about recovery as well. And he wrote this book on recovery. So get ready to laugh, take pause, Learn and Heal. The 7th book I'm going to recommend is Rewired, A Bold New Approach to Addiction and Recovery by Erica Spiegelman. I'll just read this blurb about the book. Rewired is a new breakthrough approach to fighting addiction and self-damaging behavior by acknowledging our personal power to bring ourselves back from the brink. Centered on the concept of self-actualization, Rewired will guide you towards not only physical sobriety, but a mental, emotional, and spiritual sobriety by learning to identify key principles within yourself, including authenticity, honesty, gratitude, and understanding and need for solitude. The 8th book I'll recommend is controversial, but like, take it or leave it. Like, you don't have to read it. It's totally fine, but it's helped a lot of people. And it's Alcoholics Anonymous, the big book. So whether you believe in AA or not, this book still has like a lot of really good information and success stories. So whether you believe in whatever, like the doctrine, I guess, the success stories are still really great in them. So just like the meetings, people either love them or they hate them. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about AA. But that doesn't make this book any less amazing for so many people. And like, for real, am I really going to do a list of 14 recovery books if I don't mention the big book? No. Book number 9, The Naked Mind. Control Alcohol, Find Freedom, Discover Happiness, and Change Your Life by Annie Grace. This is another amazing book that I hear a lot of people say really good things about. I haven't read it yet, but I do hear that it is very helpful for those who are questioning their drinking habits and who are looking for a solution. There's also a Naked Mind podcast. The 10th book I will recommend is Blackout, Remembering the Things I Drank to Forget by Sarah Hepola. This is a New York Times bestseller book for a reason. It's life-changing. A memoir of unblinking honesty and poignant laugh-out-loud humor, Blackout is the story of a woman stumbling into a new kind of adventure, the sober life she never wanted. Did I write that? Number 11, Nothing Good Can Come From This. Essays by Christy Coulter. Christy Coulter inspired and incensed the internet when she wrote about what happened when she stopped drinking. Nothing Good Can Come From This is her debut, a frank, funny, and feminist essay collection of a keen-eyed observer no longer numbed into complacency. The 12th book I'll recommend is Dry, a memoir by Augustine Burroughs. When Augustine is forced to examine himself, something actually starts to click, and that's when he finds himself in the worst trouble of all. Because when his 30 days are up, he has to return to the same drunken Manhattan life and live it sober. What follows is a memoir that's moving as it is funny, as heartbreaking as it is true. Dry is the story of love, loss, and Starbucks as a higher power. Number 13 is Drinking, a Love Story by Caroline Knapp. This book comes so highly recommended in pretty much all of the sober Facebook groups I'm in that I think I might have to buy it. People rave about it as being very well written and worthy of reading twice. And finally, number 14, The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober, Discovering a Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, Alcohol-Free Life by Catherine Gray. Ever sworn off alcohol for a month and found yourself drinking by the 7th? Think there's no point in just one drink? Welcome! There are millions of us. So that's it. There are so many recovery books out there, so many memoirs, so many success stories in written form. I guess that's a memoir. So many books on addiction around alcoholism. Like, there's so many. This is just 14 that I came up with through my own life and through hearing from friends and through reading reviews. What are your favorites? Please comment them below because I will certainly add to this list. And if you would like to see this video in written format and have all the links to all the books on Amazon, you can click below in the description. I will leave a link to the blog post that I created for this video as well on my website, sobercity.ca. Heart Advice for Difficult Times by Pema Chodron. Let's see how to pronounce that. Oh God, it's that woman.